everybody. Welcome to Saturday Live at the Backyard Bird Center. We are coming up on the rain season, the wet season here in Kansas City area, and maybe where you're at as well. And this is the hardest time of year to try to keep your seed dry. And we know the Midwest with its wind and sideways rains and things like that, you can lose a tube of bird seed or a feeder of bird seed pretty quickly. And first off, let me say that for sure, that if your seed has gotten really wet, go ahead and dump it. You know, we have seed. If the seed does have a seed coat on it, grab this. A seed coat on it, like sunflower seed and safflower seed, it can take a quick shower or get rain, and then the sun come out and dry it out, and the seed could be okay. But if you feed a hull seed like fine sunflower chips or medium sunflower chips, peanuts, those seeds that don't have that seed hull to protect it from moisture, that absorbs rain very quickly. Water very quickly swells up and can get moldy very quickly and actually not be healthy for the birds. So that you need to dump out and go ahead and replace it if it gets good and wet. But what are some of the things that you can do to protect your seed from that rain to begin with? And a lot of that, of course, has to do with the type of seed and the feeder that you're feeding it from. A fly-through feeder, which has no plexiglass in it, but it actually does have a hood, which is pretty good. Gives very little protection from rain because of the sideways rain and blowing, and it'll all get good and wet. But a hopper like this protects the seed inside and fills out, and that is good protection. Down here, you may have to come in and brush out wet seed, but with the hopper feeding down in there, you got good rain protection in that type of feeder. A tube feeder is kind of the same way. A tube feeder, as we move this way, tube feeders give pretty good natural protection from rain because the plexiglass is keeping the rain out. You can get some rain in the holes, but for the most part, they're pretty protective. You can add protection to tube feeders with hoods. Like this hood fits directly onto the feeder, gives really good rain protection. And then this hood actually has the hook and can fit universally more feeders, but does give good rain protection. Those are worth an investment. You know, a few tubes or a few feeders full of birdseed you have to throw away, and you've paid for the price of a hood, which is a really good thing. But you can also place the feeders underneath the eave of your house. I've talked about that a lot. The overhang, you can actually hang them from underneath there, and that gives really good rain protection. Hummingbird and oriole feeders. A lot of people like to use hoods with those because a good rain in the spring washes out the jelly and dilutes the hummingbird nectar very quickly. So a hood over the top of those, and we have, you know, colored hoods, orange and red hoods and things like that to fit over those to make those look a little nicer. But it doesn't matter what the color of the hood is, it's more the protection that they give. And remember, none of these I've shown here are anti-squirrel. Anti-squirrel hoods have to be quite a bit larger, and have to be hung from an area like out 4 feet from the tree trunk over your feeder, and the squirrels have to come from the top to try to get over it to make the feeder squirrel proof. So what we're talking about here is just really rain and weather protection, because that season is coming. The spring is springing. If you liked the video, give us a like, give us a share, send in ideas for future programs. Until then, come by and let's talk birds.